Cougars Corner is dedicated to promoting the talented athletes and coaches of the SIUE Cougars. Cougars Corner will keep you up to date on everything Cougar Athletics has to offer and give you an insider's perspective into the lives and personalities of the stars that make Cougar Athletics shine. Welcome in once again to Cougars Corner. I'm your host, Colin Surrey. We have a very special guest here with us today. Our guest was the second leading scorer on the SIUE men's basketball team at 11.4 points per game, 10th in the nation in free throw percentage at 90.4%, including 95% in conference, which both of those led the Ohio Valley Conference. The junior transfer averaged 27 points per game on 45% shooting from deep at Alabama Southern Community College before becoming a Cougar. He scored in double figures in over half the Cougars contests and was named the OVC Newcomer of the Week twice. Our guest, Daniel Kinchen. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
Good to hear. So we'll just get started off on some background and kind of how you made it to this level. How did you get started playing the game of basketball?
Well, growing up, I just had a basketball goal in my backyard, and me and my friends, we used to just always go in the back, play basketball, and I just kind of fell in love with the game.
Cool. So that was at your house. I know when I was growing up, I had next door, there was a kid that had a basketball hoop, and then everyone from the whole neighborhood would just flock over to his house, and we'd be playing over there. Was it one of those kind of deals?
Yeah, exactly how it was.
That's awesome. There's nothing quite like that, getting everyone together in the neighborhood, a little friendly basketball game going on. So you went to Stevenson High School in Georgia. What were the biggest sports at your school?
Well, I hate to say, but football. Football is the biggest sport at our school, and then the girls' basketball team was actually good too. They normally finish top 4 in the state every year, and then it was us, and then baseball team was pretty big sport too.
Gotcha. Yeah, down south they love their football, love their baseball, so a little tougher to get them around to the basketball, but of course some very rich grounds there, and especially that Georgia area where you're from. Some excellent players have come from around there. So, did you play any other sports other than basketball in high school?
I played baseball. I played basketball and baseball all the way up till high school, and then when I got to high school, I had to stick with one, so I just chose basketball. Just because baseball went through the cold, I couldn't really deal with the cold weather. Were you like more talented at basketball or baseball, one or the other? Or? Actually, I had to say at the time I was better at baseball. But
really?
Yeah, I just really wasn't feeling it like that no more, so I just stick with basketball.
Something, just looking at your frame, I can see you being a pitcher, those long arms and elbows coming at you.
Pitcher at third base.
Oh, nice. Great stuff. So, what was your recruiting process like once you were at community college? Were there local schools that were really after you, or what was the decision that went behind coming all the way up here to SIUE to come play your college ball?
I had a lot of schools in close to my home in the down south area, but I came to SIUE because I got family in this area. That was one of my biggest factors. Okay. So I felt like I could be comfortable up here, and then I felt like it was the best fit for me, on the court.
Okay, where's your family from?
St. Louis. They're from St. Louis.
What was if you had to pick a moment from high school or JUCO basketball, what was your favorite moment out there?
I had to say winning player of the year last year, because I just wasn't expecting it at the time. I was just playing ball, enjoying playing basketball with my teammates, and that just came.
Well, that's interesting. You kind of that mentality that you have of it just kind of came to you.
Yeah.
You can see that on the court when you play a lot as well. I mean, there was a lot of talk of, oh, we got Daniel Kinchen coming in. He's going to come in and he's going to light it up. He's going to score a ton of points, and it's not that you didn't score a ton of points. You went out there and averaged 12 a game, which is extremely respectable at the Division I level, but you really play within yourself, and as the season went on, you started to see that too, the way that you gelled with your teammates, and you just let the game come to you when you're out there.
Yeah.
So now we're going to switch to a little bit about your education here at SIUE. What's your major currently?
I'm currently in the integrated studies program, and I'm studying in business and mass comm right now.
Okay, very cool, very cool. Is there anything specifically that you're interested in that area? Any ideas of where you want to go?
I've always been just a person that wanted to deal with business. I'm not too sure what I want to do right now, but I know I just want to be part of the business field.
Okay, I feel you. Is there a favorite professor you've had so far, or?
Miss Mattia.
Okay.
I still can't pronounce her name right, but she been my favorite. She one of my mentors too. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah, she was a real good professor. But the bad part about it, I had to drop her class to change my major. Actually, my major was business, and I ended up having to switch it to integrated studies, and then I ended up having to drop her class. So.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But you still keep in contact
we do.
and make sure that you're keeping up with, or she's keeping up with everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool stuff. And then, is there any faculty that's helped you outside of the classroom? Maybe with basketball related stuff or career path, anything like that?
Actually, Miss Brown has helped me out. She's one of my mentors too. She's been there for me out. She's just been in my corner. So.
That's great. I mean, you definitely need those kind of people, especially I think it kind of goes under the radar as an athlete, a Division I athlete playing basketball, obviously a very prominent sport at the Division I level. There's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of outside noise that's going on, and it's nice to have those people that are close to you kind of keep you level-headed and keep you in that right mentality of, look, you're doing everything right, you just take care of your process and everything will be all right.
No doubt.
So, what's been your favorite thing about SIU East campus so far?
Probably the VC.
It's a great building, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's where I spend most of my time at anyway, so I'd have to say the VC.
Gotcha. So what will you do throughout the day in the VC?
Well, first I'll get up and we'll have practice workouts or whatnot, and then I might end up going to the rec, playing with guys in the rec, and just being like having to go to study tables. It's in the VC, so just like my whole day is spent here in the VC.
It's a one-stop shop here in the VC, huh? All right. So now we're gonna move on to SIUE basketball a little bit, just maybe some basketball in general. But how did you envision your role with this team coming into the season, and how has that kind of changed over time as you've actually been with the team and played your first full season with the team now?
I just felt like I just needed to come in and do whatever it took to help the team win or whatever to make the team successful, and that's about it. I'm not really a guy that's into I gotta do this or I gotta do that. I just feel like I just gotta do whatever it takes to make the team better. So.
And that kind of leads me right into this next question. What was that transition like for you, coming from a place where you had always been just an absolutely prolific scorer, and then all of a sudden you're asked to be that sixth man off the bench? And it's not necessarily a role changer in that, you know, they were expecting you to come off the bench and be a stopper. You were still that guy that would provide that spark, that offensive energy off the bench. What was that kind of like towards the middle of the season once you got moved to that role?
I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. It was like, because I've been there before my freshman year. My freshman year I came off the bench. So It was just like, that's what coach wanted, then that's what I needed to do. So.
Is there anything about John Harris that really kind of stands out to you and just made it a fun time to be a part of this basketball team this year?
Yeah, Coach Harris, he brings the best out of the team every day in practice. He wants nothing but the best for us, so he pushes us every day. So.
What's been the biggest transition coming from JUCO ball to Division I basketball?
Probably I would say the attention to detail. For instance, just like the scouting reports and all that. Like in JUCO ball, we did scouting reports, but it was just like we did them, but it's like we didn't have that much detail with them. Like,
gotcha.
When I came here, it was more detailed. Like you had to know which each player liked to do, their tendencies, what they're shooting from the floor, all that. Because it plays a big part in it. Because at D1 level, everybody has talent. In JUCO, you might run into teams where they really don't have that much talent in terms of like, you know what I'm saying, just skill wise, and they like teams to play hard. So you wouldn't really do a scouting report on a team like that. So.
Yep. And just something I've noticed just from being at a couple of practices with the women, like you say, that attention to detail with the scouting report, and not necessarily only knowing what the scouting report is, but knowing how to react to it in real time and practicing the scouting report is something that I would imagine is a big part of that whole scouting process.
Yeah.
What's going through your mind when you score 23 points on 13 shot attempts? You go 6 of 9 from 3. What's that feeling like when you're just out on the floor, just making it happen? It seems like no matter what you do out there.
Some games they just be like that. You just feeling good and it just happens. So.
Is it something you know pregame, or is it after the first couple of shots, or when do you kind of get that feeling? When does it come to you?
It kind of happens. It just kind of happens during the game. Like you might hit 2 shots in a row and you just start feeling good, and then it might be the way a team playing defense. It might just be your night. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, definitely. That's a big part of being a good basketball player, is being able to assess on the fly. Okay, I didn't expect to be guarded like this, but this is how I'm being guarded, and can you make that adjustment as the game's going, which you did an excellent job of all season. It was really a fun thing to watch. Early in the season, you really were a volume scorer, and you went out there, and the team really relied on you to put up all that offense because there weren't really a ton of other players due to some injuries that could provide that. What does it say about you that you're able to adapt to whatever the team needs you?
I think it just tells what type of player I am or what type of player I could be capable of being. Because, like I said, I just do whatever I feel like the team needs me to do, or whatever the Coach Harris needs me to do.
And I know your teammates really appreciated that, and I think it had played a really big role in you guys making it back to that Ohio Valley Conference tournament for the first time in 3 years. And I know you hadn't necessarily been a part of the program over those previous 3 years, but you were certainly instrumental in getting them back to that place this season. There were a lot of questions about this team, where they would kind of find their offense coming into the season. Did you feel any pressure personally that you were kind of going to be relied upon to be that guy that would go out there and really provide that for this team?
No, I didn't feel no pressure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's basketball, so it's something I've been doing my whole life, so I didn't really feel no pressure. And I didn't really pay attention to all the social media stuff in the hype, so.
Gotcha. That's probably a good thing. It gets a little crazy out there sometimes on social media, that's for sure. So what do you expect from this team going into next season, and how do you see a very, very deep and stacked backcourt shaking out come regular season?
I feel like it'll really help the team out a lot, because every day in practice you have to compete, and the harder you go in practice, the easier it'll be in games. So I feel like it'll be for the better of the team. Definitely.
So do you have a favorite moment from this season, either on or off the court?
I say my favorite moment this year was pulling out the game against Tennessee State at home. Tennessee State was actually the school that was recruiting me, and I got a little good relationship with the coaches over there. So it felt good pulling that one out. It was a nail biter, it came down to the wire. So
yes, it was. That was a fun game. You guys played in a lot of games like that this year, where it really came down to the wire. And again, I think it speaks a lot to the way you guys just meshed as a team this season, that you had so many new faces coming in, and yet in those late moments you guys trusted each other. You played team ball, and it wasn't some kind of like hero ball, like, oh, Dan Kinchen's got to go save the game for us, or oh, Jalen Henry's got to go save the game. You guys did an excellent job just staying with that ball movement and that team ball, and that's what in my opinion really helped you guys pull some of those close games out.
Yeah.
Do you expect to step into more of a leadership role as a senior And now that you have an entire season under your belt, do you feel like you're more prepared to step into that role?
Yes, I do. I feel like I know what to expect for next season with the 1 year under my belt. And I definitely want to be a leader for my teammates this year. That's one of my personal goals.
And I think you've already shown a lot of those leadership skills just from the standpoint of you're so obviously, especially even talking to you here, you're a team first kind of guy.
Yes,
And having that team mentality is essential to being a leader. I think a lot of times what you end up seeing are individuals that are really good players themselves, but they're not necessarily thinking about their teammates and how they can make people around them better. And that's something you obviously pay a lot of attention to detail about. What are your team goals or personal goals heading into your senior season?
I'll say my team goals are to make it back to the OVC tournament, and hopefully this year is to get to the championship game. We want to compete to win the championship, and my personal goals would just lie within that. So that's really my personal goal too, is to get to the championship game.
Well, that's really cool to hear. I think there's definitely some big expectations going into next year, and it's just exciting to see the trajectory of this program definitely heading in the right direction right now.
Yeah.
So some fun times ahead, and then we'll end it on a little bit of a lighter note. You have a favorite NBA team? I know the playoffs are going right now. I've been glued to it. I don't know about yourself.
I really don't have too much of a favorite team. I have a favorite player. My favorite player is LeBron, so
okay.
I just cheer for LeBron. So until he come out the lead, then I'll probably stick with one team. But LeBron, my guy.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's having a little bit of a rough time. He doesn't have a whole lot of help around him right now, but he still got it done last night.
Yeah, he'll get through. He'll get through. He'll find a way.
He will.
Yeah.
Greatest player in the world.
Yeah.
Usually he'll find a way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today, Daniel. It's been a great time talking to you, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode of Cougars Corner.